Well, hello, newsies. Happy Friday. It is me, Becca Laurie Hector, your host of Neurodiversity Newsstand, and that is what you're watching. If you are new to Neurodiversity Newsstand, either in our groups or new to the YouTube channel and the YouTube shows, please take the opportunity now to go ahead and hit the subscribe button. At the end, I'm going to bother you to do it again and also ask you for some feedback. But for now, go ahead and do that. For those of you that are new here, we're going to be giving the wrap up of this week's news in neurodiversity in a nutshell here on Fridays with me. It comes from a really strong Facebook group that I have running right now that I've now pushed onto LinkedIn, but I realized that some people don't have the time to read all the articles that we share in there and that we talk about, so I figured why not give you a nice little summary. And then I get to talk to you a little bit too about my own crap and what's going on with me and on my journey, and share some of the stuff that I'm learning about life with you guys. Before I do that, so some thoughts, things I want to share with you. I have made some major decisions about my life as I come to you with my, by the way, okay, I'm going to back up on that because I do want to talk to you on that, but first, let me please apologize for coming to you in my sleepy hair again, and I'm still in my pajama pants, by the way. Let's keep it real and authentic. But I was just traveling for the last couple of days. I had to do a keynote speech in New York for the NYU ASD Nest Support Program, which is an amazing program out of NYU that works with the New York City public schools and helping to educate the teachers to help educate the kids on the spectrum. So it was amazing. I got to share my presentation on self-defined living, which kind of sums up the stuff that I used to do on this channel about looking at your words and kind of figuring out how they fit into your life and why they're important, and do they really mean what you think they mean. So I did that, and it was really exciting and fun. I had added some new slides, so that was a good time, but I am so tired. I mean, travel is probably the biggest spoon stealer ever, and anybody who goes and does anything like what I do, and there are many advocates that speak way more often than I do. Not to say that I wouldn't like to speak more if you're out there and listening, people who have speaking engagements, but I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they keep it up. It's such a sensory overload for me. It is so exhausting. It is such a I run on adrenaline the whole time I'm doing it, and so I don't feel that like all of the things that are hard about interoception become even harder. Like I forget to eat, I forget to be hungry, and I just can't. I'm all focused on getting where I'm supposed to be going and hurry up to get back home. And so I was really glad to get home late last night, and thinking to myself, well, you know what, I'm going to keep it real. This is what a day after travel looks like for advocates that do it. This is the only thing I'm doing today, just because I know I promise it for you on Fridays, and I don't want to not keep my promises to the people that I enjoy spending my time with. And sharing my thoughts with. So this is it. This is as dressed as I'm getting today, and as much as is happening today. This is a no shower day. Deal. At least you don't have to smell me all the way over there. I did shower when I got home though, to wash the outside world off. So I did do that. But in any case, here we are, right? Neurodiversity Newsstand. But the thing I was going to say before, which I interrupted my own self. Wow, you know how much I would interrupt you because I interrupt myself this much? Anyway, what I've decided to do, I had this big, so remember a couple weeks ago I was doing my video and I was showing you guys how my wisdom hairs were kind of growing in on the side here and on the side here, and it's kind of a little bit harder to see now, but I'm going to take my glasses off and pull my hair back so you guys can see, right? It's starting to come back in again. So what I decided about 2 weeks ago was that I was going to dye my hair for the last time. I was like, that's it, I'm done. I've been dyeing my hair since I was 12 years old. I am now 43. It's been many decades since I have seen my natural hair. So what I did, I had 5 different colors in my hair at the moment, a couple weeks ago. So I just took a really neutral dark brown, because my hair is naturally brown. blonde, don't know. Okay, did the whole thing as close as I could to one color. There were parts that were black, so they're just black. That's the way it is. And now I'm done. I'm just not gonna do it. I want to see how gray I am. I want to, I just want to simplify. And it's another thing that I have to do is dyeing my hair. It's like another thing. And sometimes it was fun, and there were parts of my life when I was doing fun colors and changing my hair like crazy, and that was fun. But now I'm tired. I mean, it's enough that I have to shave and put a bra on. I don't want to have to dye my hair anymore. I don't want to. I don't want to. So I am going to spend the next year, because what I've read so far is that it takes about a year to get through it. There are some nice techniques for in dyeing processes where you can cheat and grow in your grays a little nicer. I am not cheating. I don't think so, unless I can't take it anymore. But I'm just gonna let it grow out. So you guys will be along the hair grow journey with me. My goal, I haven't had long hair in 7 years. I used my whole life until 7 years ago, my hair was like long and down to here in one length, and that's it. And then I cut it all off after my diagnosis, and I went through a whole phase, and I haven't had long hair since then. So I'm growing my hair out, and I'm going to leave it, try and grow it long, and also not dye it anymore. And the other piece of that puzzle, which I already stopped doing a couple of months ago, is that I stopped getting manicures, and I started just, keeping them clean and short at home. I was wasting spoons going to get that done because I think there was a belief in my head somewhere that if you had your hair looked together and your nails were done, you had your shit together. And that is a lie. It's a lie, because anybody can pay anybody to make them look like they have their shit together. But it actually is something that keeps me from really getting my shit together and really being authentically who I am. Like, I don't care what my nails look like. I would literally go in and just, pick a color. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what I cared about. And so I'm done. This is my new thing for this year. So I hope you guys will put up with however weird I may look as the line, which is the soul I'm fearing, as the line of undyed hair comes down my head, because that's what's about to happen. And we'll all find out together kind of what my natural hair color is. Yay. Okay, so that's my opening. That's all my crap that I've laid out for you guys. Anything that I may have missed or whatever, I'm sure you'll see online somewhere here or there. But that's kind of the big stuff I have going on. In my head, in my personal journey. I'm toying around the idea of maybe doing like a weekly vlog or something, or like a daily journal type thing. But I really enjoy that it's part of this. This is all part of what I do. So you're the same people that would be watching the daily vlog or watching my Neurodiversity Newsstand. So there you go. You get 2 for the price of 1. But let's move ourselves on to the news, shall we? All right, this week. So a little tough for me. This week, obviously, I've been traveling, so I've been trying to keep up with what's going on. I went through our big group just to see if there was anything kind of important to talk about that really grabbed my attention, or something that I totally missed, so that I don't miss something important. What I am going to say to you guys is I'm definitely not on my game this week. So if there was something cool, or a blog that I missed, or a meme that was funny, or some kind of article or rebuttal to article that I missed this week, I was traveling, please forgive me, but also please tell me in the comments. And let me know, so that I can let others know, or you can let others know. Okay, so here we go on my best attempt. I moved to a legal pad, you guys. Oh, you can't see that. I moved to a legal pad from the Post-it notes, because the Post-it notes were feeling super wasteful to me. And so I'm trying a legal pad. We'll see how it works this week. So first article I'm going to talk about this week. I don't want to spend too long really talking about it, because I don't necessarily feel that it said too much. None of us were too surprised to see it, but the picture was pretty. So the first one I'm going to talk about is, we had an article come out this week called, titled something along the lines of the Diagnostic Deserts in the United States. The autism diagnostic deserts in the United States. And of course, not surprisingly, none of us were surprised to see really that both coastlines had some stuff going on. Obviously, the East Coast was much heavier. Sorry, there's a cat at the door. Much heavier than the West Coast. But what was interesting was to sort of see it visually, kind of to get a look at really just how mismatched it is. But what I found really most interesting of the whole thing wasn't in the article itself, but in our conversation down below. Because what we all ended up pointing out was that even when you live in a high resource area, because that's what they did, they sort of designated where high diagnostics were happening and if you lived in a high resource area, right? And so even when the people that are living in high resource areas are still feeling unsupported, because they are not getting the supports that they want or need for their kids from those resources. So what we're finding is it's a diagnostic desert for some, but in others, what we're finding is that the supports that are available are just so out of tune with what's going on in the community right now, and so out of tune with what's really happening and what we really want to see as supports and services. So that was my interesting takeaway actually from this article. I say take a look at the picture. You'll never kind of forget the visual of it. Interested to see what it looks like in other places. I'd love to see Europe's numbers. I'd love to see Canada's numbers. But we got the US numbers because US loves its numbers. And that's what it was. So take a look at that article if you're interested. Next up, let's at least stop for a moment and talk about, I think I'm like a fangirl, stop and talk about Greta Thunberg. So Miss Greta was in the news again this week, and I love because she's so visually is a visibility way for, struggling with English. Do you see, you guys? This is what it's like for me when I'm super tired and I've been talking a lot and I need to not be talking anymore because I'm struggling to find the words I want to say and to get my mouth to make them as fast as I'm thinking them. And that's definitely what happens. It's a processing kind of blip that happens for me when I'm tired and I've really pushed myself. In any case, but on. So Greta, who I think is easily, I wish that I was Greta I wish I was that cool when I was that age. Like I cared about stuff that way, but I did not have my stuff together in a way where I would be able to talk about it the way she talks about it. And so she was in the news twice this week, and so we're going to talk about both those things. First of all, there was a really, what's the word I want to use? A really gross article that came out about the misogyny within the climate deniers club. So in the club of people where we have some climate change deniers, they have a tendency to pick on women, and in particular they are now picking on Greta. Okay, so here we have an underage girl doing and saying and talking about really, really adult, mature, important things, and what do? We pick on her. Way to go, adults. So proud of you. Super move, really cool. And so some of the things that they were saying about her is that everyone loves her because she's young and her youth makes her unassailable. Right? So her youth makes her, you can't doubt her. You can't argue with her anything because of her youth. Well, sir, I disagree with you. But in any case, that was what that article is about. It's gross. If you want to get triggered and pissed off about the world, have a look at that article. It was I shared in our group, and I thought, yes, you know what? Let's talk about that because she's in the news for that part of what she's doing too. How much does that suck to be her age and have to deal with adult men being idiots and just wasting your spoons, wasting theirs. And meanwhile, you're out doing the second thing she was in the news for this week, which was sailing across the Atlantic to New York City. So this girl, it's like ridiculous. This girl who, we should all fear because she's saying all these ignorant things in her youth, just sailed across the ocean, halfway across the planet, to get to the UN for the UN Youth Climate Summit. Okay? So all of you, and they did say it in the article, all of you young Republican men out there in the climate world who are sitting around and wasting their oxygen talking about Greta, she was busy sailing to the UN. And it is with that thought that I leave us on Greta. Okay. Next up, Dora Raymaker. Okay, Thinking Person's Guide to Autism published a fantastic interview with Dora Raymaker. She's an autistic researcher based out of Portland. She is part of AA Aspire, where they do research, community research, and making sure that autistics are included in research, and that the research that's being done is the research that autistics want done. So she did a fantastic interview about autistic burnout and the lack of research about autistic burnout, the different ways that we talk about autistic burnout in our vernacular versus the definition versus when and where and its frequency, and as much as we do know and how much more it is that we do need to know. As always, Miss Dora, I'm a big fan of her, also her science fiction writing, if you're a sci-fi fan. It is... I always forget the name of the character. Hero in the Red Circuit is Dora Raymaker. And she is a fantastic researcher on top of being a great author. So take the time to read her eloquent interview, because Dora, you did really knockout job. Thank you, Thinking Person's Guide. Thank you, Dora, for a really great one. This one is worth sharing to your friends, your family, and maybe even, I don't know, your teachers, your educators. It was a really good interview, so take a look at it. Then what do we have next coming up? Oh, right, my science nerd article. So I know I have some science nerds out there in my Neurodiversity Newsstand group. I'm a huge science nerd. I love to read research. I love thinking about the research. I love thinking about all of the components that make up research, the ethics of research. And so I am a giant science nerd. So you may not have all read this one in our group, though those of us who do like that stuff were pretty into a discussion on this one and sharing articles and backup research and things like that. And so the article was about how brain scans have revealed that ASD brains contain, and this is the word for word, and then I'll explain to you what they ended up talking about, right? So they said the scans reveal that ASD brains contain unique and highly idiosyncratic connections. What that means in layman's terms is that each one of our autistic brains are different, and we each create uniquely different connection pathways, I guess is the word I want to use, right? So we, each one of us, we all have autism, but each one of us has created our own unique pathways through the brain. Whereas in comparison, neurotypical brains all have the same pathways to do the same things, right? And so part of the struggle with studying autism and understanding autism is that, in fact, it's pretty amazing, right? It's a pretty amazing thing that not only are autistic brains different from neurotypical brains, but every autistic brain is different from every other autistic brain. Something to be said about what it is we might be capable of if that's our potential. So that was my science nerd article of the week. I really enjoyed it. Moving on to an article that actually has almost nothing to do with autism. But for some reason, it got us all lit up in a conversation, and I thought that was the interesting part about it yet again. So an article came out, and I decided that I wanted to share it with the group because I thought, wow, what an interesting topic, and I wonder how this would have impacted my life. So it was a new law came out in Oregon allowing mental health days for teens, so that they don't have to just take sick days as in illness days. They can now take mental health days. It was interesting because in our group, and I posted it really vanilla, like just like, this is super interesting, take a look, but without my opinion, because I wanted to see kind of how we all took it, because I had my opinion, but I'm not right, so let's see. So I did that, and we had a really good conversation, and it was a lot about a lot of people feeling like, oh, thank God, finally it's about time. I wish I had this option when I was a kid. And then we had another group of people kind of saying, well, yeah, but if we start doing that, then we're going to have to give mental health days at work, and we're going to have to, how do we know if they really are having mental health issues, and blah, blah, blah. So what was more interesting to me was actually our conversation with each other, besides just really on the topic, I guess, of mental health days. Are they important? Do we need them? What are they for? How do, that kind of thing, in light of this becoming a new law in Oregon, having nothing to do with disability, autism, or whatever, but plenty of us on the spectrum need mental health days often. And so I thought it was interesting. I'm a big fan of them. I need mental health days much more often, and much more with much more need, more necessity than I do illnesses, right? And I can go and do what I have to do if I have a cold. I usually manage to get through. But if I'm really needing a mental health day, if I'm totally burned out and I'm feeling shut down coming on and all of that, yeah, I need that day. So that was an interesting topic, and what I recommend really, besides, you can skim through the article, it was interesting, whatever, informational, but our conversation below that in the Facebook group in particular was really, really interesting. So that was sort of that, in terms of whatever. And then the last thing, I guess, that I want to leave you with from the Neurodiversity Newsstand group was our fave, one of my faves, a good friend of mine, Neurodivergent Rebel, Krista Holmans, is doing a blog now with Geek Club Books called #AskingAutistics. And she's sort of picking a topic or asking a question and asking us to sort of all give our input on it, and sort of asking for that back. So the question from Krista this time, the one that she came out with this month, is, have you been told you can't be autistic? Well, and this one, so this is an interesting one. I haven't been told, so at first, and I'm going to answer mine, and then I, of course, want you guys to think about your answers. And Krista, if you're watching and you feel like transcribing or you want me to type it up, I will. But my answer to that question is, I haven't been told, no, you can't be autistic because... but when I've disclosed I'm autistic, especially in the beginning, and especially to people that had known me for a long period of time, like from when I was younger, there was a lot of the, you can't be autistic, like that, like not like, no, you're not autistic, like that. But there's always a lot of, you're not autistic, and that's not just from family members. These days it's not, like in that personal realm for me, but it still happens to me at doctor's offices. Yeah. And that's the one that pisses me off more than anything. I can let the ignorance of people who may have had some other odd impression of me, from whatever, and then, didn't really know me. I can forgive that ignorance. I can forgive that they might not have had that experience, but I'm sorry. If you are a medical professional and your response to a patient telling you that they're autistic is, no, you're talking. We're done here. You're not doing anything else to me. That means you need to reboot and go back to medical school. Some shit is wrong. Like, it's over. And so the fact that that's still happening to me is disturbing. And it's something that keeps me from disclosing in my doctor's offices often. But yes, in the beginning, there was a lot of that. You can't be autistic. Oh, no. But really, I couldn't be all of the 7 million other diagnoses that people gave me. That's what I really couldn't be, because the whole time I was autistic. It was great, though, because the people that do that to you, it's really, you can weed them out of your life easier. And when you disclose to people and their response isn't a response that you appreciate, you get to walk away from those people, too. It's a nice... it's like a little sweet test you can do with people, I guess. Though it's not nice to test people, they say. That's what they say. So that's it for us, I guess, today here at Neurodiversity Newsstand in my pajamas with my bed head and being exhausted and a little loopy. So I hope you guys will forgive me for that. If you enjoyed watching, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You can go ahead and hit the subscribe button right below. Make sure you give me thumbs up or thumbs down. Let me know whether you liked it, hated it, whatever. If I missed something that you feel like I should have talked about, please throw it into the comments here. So I know you're watching, and so I can do a better job the next time around. I love hearing from you guys, so you can also reach out to me through my website at info@beccalaurie.com. And that's it for me. I'm Becca Laurie Hector, And I'll see you next Friday, you guys. Have a good weekend.